Okay, so I want to paint this top piece here, and I think I'm going to try sponging on. It's got a bit of natural sponge here. I'm going to try sponging on some standard acrylic paint and just try and build up a kind of worn metal effect on there. Maybe after applying that, I may do a little bit with some actual metal paint, just a silver metal, just here and there, just to try and sell the idea that this is a really tarnished and corroded old metal finish. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing. With the sponge, it can be heavy in some places, light in others. It's okay. The good thing about using the sponge is the paint won't tend to go down into the grooves or the detail too much. So I'll carry on with this and then move on to the metal layer next. Okay, it's quite awkward to show this model, but so I've done a couple of layers of warm greys, and now I've got some kind of copper looking paint. Just a few dabs of that here and there, and once I start adding panel liners, you know, the enamel washes, we'll be able to go into all these grooves. It's just helping imply that this was at some point more of a coppery metal. I think it's always worth just picking out a few items and some spot colours. So I'm just going to use some red on the hand wheels, and then just start picking out some other elements just to get a bit of interest into it with a few colours, not too much. You want to keep the overall thing quite subtle. One of my favourite paints to use for rubber hoses or conduits or tyres, rubber, whatever, is the Tamiya XF1 flat black. The only thing with it is you don't want to go over the same area again with the brush while it's drying. You kind of just want to get it on in one go and let it dry to get that nice flat finish. I've cut some pieces of masking tape, and I'm just going to create a little shape on the paintwork, just to kind of go with the transfer that I've added there. The point is I'm trying to make these sheets of metal look like they've been reclaimed from something else, and used. Like that. So this could be part of a large letter or number on a much bigger structure, and they've reclaimed some metal sheet to make this. Just going to use some grey paint for a start. And then some black. So we've got a couple of other transfers up on the top. Done some more painting elsewhere. I've got a panel here that I've painted with silver paint, and I'm just going to also paint that with a plain colour to make this look like a newer piece that's been added on to repair some damage. The trick here would be to leave some silver showing on the edge around the whole edge, just to imply that it's been cut out. Those edges are a bit fresher. So leave that to dry. So I've done my decals now. Most of the items I wanted to paint out separately have been picked out now. So all that remains to do now is the enamel washes and get it finished. Okay, the first panel liner I'm using is this brown and green by AK Interactive, and I've got some odorless thinners for enamel, also just poured out into a little dish, and I'm using it really thin down. So because it's so thin, it's just going to go in there and flow around into those details and the recesses and just add a bit of definition to it, and also a nice kind of dry, dusty, grimy finish. Just use it at different concentrations here and there just to vary it up a little bit. And that's how I would treat all this detail in here. I wouldn't sit and try and paint individual pipes or parts. Much better just to use a panel liner or some other wash just to try and pick out the detail without spending too long on it. And then I think I'll use the same stuff higher up in this chimney piece. So we'll carry on with this brown and green panel liner and then see how that looks. Just using some of this winter streaking grime, which adds a kind of nice green, dusty tone once it dries in. So I'm going to use that on the painted areas, and it can look quite heavy when you put it on. As I say, if you use plenty of thinners, it will spread out and then dry to a far more subtle effect. Nice to let it just flow where it wants to go sometimes, and leave a bit of variety in the thickness. So I'll carry on moving up through the model with this stuff, and then we'll see how it looks when it's dry. Okay, so finished using those enamel washes. That last one there, the rust streaks, just dab that on here and there. Just adds a little bit more variety to it, but in general that's it. In the pipework areas I did add a little bit of the engine oil enamel wash just to give that a slight glossy look here and there, for a bit of contrast between that and the rest of the panelling around about. But that is finished. Last things to maybe try doing here and there would be to get some metal onto some freshly exposed edges. So I've just got a soft pencil here, and you can just run the pencil along some of the, like I said, more exposed edges, and that'll give you quite a realistic metal look here and there. So we can add some of that And if I want, I can maybe sponge on some metal paint also here and there. In general, the piece is now finished. I'll complete the base using the same methods I've done for my other pieces of terrain, and then I'll set up a kind of final view with some miniatures just to let you see how it looks. So thanks for watching.